Well, that's bike racing. I'm a bike racer now, baby. I'm a swimmer and a bike racer. One day I'm gonna learn how to run too. Another easy little swim here today. Shaking the legs out. Still, I made a mistake actually after my last best swim time in the indoor try of getting back into the pool because I was so motivated and swimming really hard. So these next couple days, just nice, easy. Make sure to get that swim race completely out of the arms, and obviously try and save the legs for the race tonight. Well, I started the day with a 4,000-yard swim just to get the legs warmed up and the arms warmed up. And then I got in a nice 30-minute warm-up for the bike. We're 30 minutes from going into battle. I have a feeling we're going to set new 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 20 minute powers today, which were just set yesterday. And we're also going to find out what that max heart rate is, which I've never seen. Well, not in the last 3 years. I haven't seen a heart rate into the 170s. So let's see. Let's find out if it's possible to go there. And then I knew stage 1 was basically, 4K to the base of the climb, and then I want to say another 4K basically straight up the side of a mountain. Come on. And I knew that's probably about as close to the triathlon style of biking that I was going to get. So I had to take what's mine. And once I got to the base, actually before we even got to the base, I figured I could maybe get a little heads up. And I just attacked and just kept the pressure on all the way up. And it was looking like I wasn't really going to get any distance, but then all of a sudden the gap opened up, so I attacked again. And I held him off, and I ended up, I won the first stage, so that got me 20 points. And so now we move, basically it was like a 7-minute easy spin, and then we move into stage 2, which was 2 loops of a fairly hilly course with about a 3.5-minute climb, each of those loops. So once again, I knew my only shot was big power, big steady power up that 3.5-minute climb. And we attacked on the first time. I think we dropped a couple people on the first one, and then we got there again, and I went for it. I gave everything I had to because I knew going into stage 3 I wasn't going to have any chance. And we were starting to get people, I think, to fall off, and legs were starting to hurt, but I couldn't get away. And then it came down to a sprint, and anytime it comes down to a sprint, sprinting is of no relevance whatsoever to triathlon, so. Stay on it. All right, that's good. And so I ended up getting 4th in that stage, but it still got me quite a few points. So now I was actually in the lead still after 2 stages. I think I had 31 points, and second place had 26 points. Adam Zimmerman was in second. And so then stage 3, I knew my odds were very close to 0 because it was basically 3 loops of a flat course, and the draft is very, very, very significant, both in real life and in Zwift. And I attacked, multiple times at, completely random points.
Mm-hmm. And then pretend like I'm burning out at the base, and then attack again.
Like come even further back?
Yeah.
But don't let them get too far away.
And there was just no way I could get away. I couldn't even shake a single guy. And so really, I just was trying to attack and just soften the sprint that I knew was coming. And then the sprint came as it always does, and I was 7th in that final stage, which put me in 2nd place overall. So, admittedly, I'm a competitor. I don't really come to races to finish 2nd unless I'm doing a swim race, and then I come to finish last usually. But I figure I'm a fairly competent biker, and so yeah, I'd like to have won, but the reality is I'm not a well-rounded biker, and I got outclassed, and more fuel for the fire. Anyway, you slice it though, this thing was a great experience. It's made me a better biker. It's shown me where my weaknesses are, where I can improve for the future, and it's also inspired me for next year. I'd love to do this event again, and probably try and at least work on my sprinting ability, also work on my 30-second, 1 minute, 5-minute power, get that a little higher as well. So lots of stuff to focus on now for the future.
Will this give you more power on your surges and confidence to maybe put in some pretty good surges in Sunday winter race?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting question, because the reality is, I did warm-up, cool-down, and recovery in between 2Ks, 5 of them. I ran through 17K, 1:13 high pace, half marathon pace. So if I just ran another 4Ks, that's what I would have run. And that's with doing the most ridiculous, if you ever executed a 70.3 like today's race, most people would say you'd probably be crawling to the finish line. So it's kind of interesting, actually. I guess it means that maybe you can leave a little bit more out there in the surge. On the other hand, I haven't really struggled with the surge in the 70.3. Usually, if I can catch the pack, I don't know if I've ever caught a pack and not been able to shake them. So it hasn't really been something of too much concern, but maybe it will be in the future.
You're 2 weeks out from Oceanside. You have a pretty good race there. A lot of people say the field is going to be pretty solid, pretty competitive outside of Alistair, Ben, and Javier. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, it's no secret. One of the more formative races of my life was 2015 Oceanside, where I came out of the water with a 4.5 minute deficit, bridged the gap by about, an hour into the race or so, and then made some stupid decisions and tried to let the ego get in, and I think I went by the pack at 550 watts for a minute and a half, something like that, and I got a little gap and then basically blew up hardcore, and they all caught me, so all my effort was futile. And then Jan Frodeno and I came off the bike side by side. We ran 5K side by side, bumping elbows, and then he dropped me, and that was a great experience. I still feed off that experience to this day. And so I've been waiting for the rematch from that race, and I was getting it last year, and I came out of the water this time with a 2.5 minute deficit, bridged the gap by about 15 miles, and then unfortunately Jan got a flat tire, so we were unable to duke it out. So Jan's back this year, and we're going to get to duke it out, and I'm really looking forward to that.
3:08 to the second. That's definitely the best running I've ever done after a bike ride like that. That's for sure. It's the inspiration of this setting. It's
a good day's work.
Is there anyone else on the start list that you think can affect the race?
I mean, I don't disrespect anyone. So, I mean, I've showed up at a race as a complete no-name and ended up winning the race. So, you know, there's probably 15 guys on that start list who could play a role in the race and probably will play a role from different angles on the swim, the bike. Of course, you got Andrew Talansky, who no one knows what he's capable of, but obviously he's capable of a top 10 in the Tour de France, so he's obviously a great athlete. And then you've got Tim Reed, who's a 70.3 world champion, also a great athlete. Sam Appleton was 4th at 70.3 worlds this past year, great athlete. David McNamee, 2nd fastest running Kona, also a great athlete. I mean, I can go down the list. They're all great athletes. So it's really who wants to play, and we'll find out in 13 days.
What's your greatest weakness in this race with this field?
I mean, it's no secret. My swim is still a weakness. I swam 1850 for the long course 1500, but I mean, I got lapped by a he probably was 14 years old, the kid. So, I mean, that's how Yan grew up. Yan, that's what I said to Aaron on the when we were sitting there. I mean, this is what Yan did growing up. This is what Javier did growing up. We're obviously missed the boat, and you know, we're trying to backtrack and do it. But the reality is, you're never going to be able to make up for that lost time. So the best I can do is, you know, within 5 years, hopefully be at the, you know, back of that front pack anyway. And so there's that. And then Oceanside, what's very unique about it this year is they've moved it back to a beach start. And I mean, as a weak swimmer, anytime you have to do things, you know, other than just swim straight from point to point with no swell, no nothing, and a wetsuit on, it's going to be bad for you. So that's good for me, though, because rarely do I ever have a beach start on the, you know, that could potentially have some decent sized swell. So it's just more experiences, more things to add to your arsenal to become a better, more well-rounded athlete, and that's all I'm concerned with. So without a doubt, it's going to be a challenging swim for me, despite the improvements. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to be a great experience, and whatever happens, there is no bad experience that could possibly happen. That being said, you know, I gotta have to be on my game on the bike, because it is going to be a challenging swim, and I've got to be on my game on the run, and I intend to be. So, yeah, that's it.